Hi BookTube. Happy Sunday. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Um, I'm back. I'm really sorry I haven't been on much. Um, Towards the end of September for 2 weeks, my husband and I went away to Greece, which was really nice. But as soon as I got back, I got this horrible, nasty cough. It wasn't the worst cold I've ever had, but I think because I haven't had a cold in like 18 months because no one's been interacting with each other. I think it just took me aback, and I just whenever I would talk, it would send me into a coughing fit. I lost my voice, so it just was really unpleasant and not conducive really for making videos. So apologies for that, but I'm back. um, I just wanted to update you on the reading that I've done since I went away. And I do have one book that I want to share before I went away. So this is August, so this is incredibly late. If I have spoken about this in a previous video, then apologies, it's been that long. But here we go. So this is one that I finished in late August, Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Zadawi. And this is by, the publisher is One World. So this is a work of fiction, obviously, based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This takes place during the Iraq War, and basically what happens is a trash or rubbish collector starts collecting body parts from the streets in Baghdad and starts sewing them together. And he claims that he does this so that they can get a proper burial. But then sinister things start happening on the streets of Baghdad, and people start reporting sightings of a terrible monster. So this book, while it is, you know, a semi-horror, it takes place during the Iraq War, so it wraps together black humor, satire, um, horror all in one. And I did enjoy this book. I think perhaps I read it a bit too fast. I finished this in a day, and I don't think that maybe I should probably go back and read the second half, because I don't think some of the plot really sunk in for me. I think I was just rushing because I was enjoying it, and it got towards 11 o'clock at night and I had work the next day. I was like, no, I'm determined to finish it. So I really should go back and do this book justice, because I did enjoy it, but perhaps I missed a few things. So that was a really crap review for you there, but it's a book that I do recommend if you're interested in, you know, gothic horror retellings that take place during war in different countries. So that's that one. And then in September was a horrible reading month for me. But I did manage to do a bit of reading while I was away. So my husband and I went to Greece, and we did plenty of things there. We went to Zakynthos or Zante, one of the Ionian islands. It was absolutely lovely. The people were friendly. There wasn't a point where I didn't feel like I was safe because of COVID. There were a lot of testing requirements. People were wearing masks. Some people were wearing masks, but I was double vaccinated, so I think I felt less stressed than I would have if, you know, these measures weren't put in place. Anyway, that's a slight diversion, but I read on the beach, I read by the pool, I read in bars, I read on the bus. I did a fair bit of reading. It's not all we did. We did lots of excursions, but 3 of the books that I read were Kindle reads, and I did bring my Kindle with me. Hooray for Dracula, as it is the month of October. But the first one that I finished, excuse me, the first one that I finished was a book by Thomas Costain, and that was The Conquering Family. I actually started that in August. And Costain was recommended to me by a subscriber, Kelly, who, what was the other one that I read? The Last Plantagenets was, I think, the first one that I read by him, and I really liked his style of writing. Um, he does write in the 60s, and there are certain things that he says where you can definitely tell, you know, you're a product of your time, aren't you? But in any case, I enjoyed this. It follows William the Conqueror up until John. Um, and the formation of England, based on the decisions made by the Plantagenets and nobles and other key players. And I really enjoyed it. And then the second two books that I read, these were both works of fiction, and I really enjoyed these. If you know me, you know that it's really difficult for me to actually get into fiction. I find history a lot more exciting, like nonfiction, and much easier to read. But I did find two books by the same author in the same series that I really did enjoy. And the series is called Kingmaker, and it's by Toby Clements. I don't have the publisher for you, but I'll put it in the description. But the first book is called Winter Pilgrims, the second one called Broken Faith. I don't really know how to do a book review for fiction because I don't want to ruin the plot for anyone. It's not like history where we already know what happens, but I'll try to give a good overview without doing without destroying the plot. So Winter Pilgrims takes place during the War of the Roses, and essentially what happens is a nun and a monastic priest find themselves in a bit of a pickle with a dangerous man, and long story short, they have to go on the run. And it's just a really exciting story that brings in. Toby Clements is really good at describing certain scenes. There are certain scenes where it's almost like Game of Thrones, when someone dies, and when they die, they just die. There's no big song and dance about it. They just die, and you're just left there thinking, just shocked by the profundity and the brevity of that situation. And I think that's sort of what he was going for in this novel. But there are other scenes that he describes in great detail, and it enriches the story for that. So battle scenes he describes in great detail, and I think he describes them very well. There are certain scenes where he's describing surgeries, and I think he wants you to appreciate how gross, painful, and uncomfortable the situation is for everyone involved. And I think he did a great job doing that. So he does that for both of the books. So the first book is Winter Pilgrims in the series, and the second one is Broken Faith. I believe there's 4 or 5, but I haven't read those yet in the series. I will be reading the next one shortly, but I think I just need to take a break and see what else there is out there. But I just thought with the second book in the series, Broken Faith, there are certain things in the book that I don't think he did as well in the first one, such as the character development or linking in characters as well as he did in the first story. I think there were some cop-outs in the second one where certain characters would be pushed to the side and we don't hear about them, and then there's just a brief explanation towards the end of the story as to why. And then, of course, there are certain things about the main character, Catherine, one of the main characters. The main characters are Catherine and Thomas. There's no secret, but Catherine has to disguise herself as a man, which is quite dangerous when you consider that Joan of Arc was burned at the stake not too far in advance of this story, during the War of the Roses. Well, actually, I should say it was in the War of the Burgundians and the Armagnacs. But in any case, I digress again. So she has to disguise herself as a woman, and I think it just becomes, in the second story, a bit unbelievable that nobody catches on that she's a woman. The way I think of it is, Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music, when she's got short hair, that's how I picture Catherine in this story. They describe her as someone who's very beautiful and striking. So I'm like, well, nobody's picking up on this, honestly. How long has she been fooling you guys? It almost became a bit unbelievable, but there you go. It didn't make me want to stop reading the books. I think that they were both really exciting and really just what I needed on my holiday. Um, so that's that. One book that I have started and I'm really excited because this is a new release by Dan Jones. I really like Dan Jones. I know there's people out there who don't just because he writes popular history, but whatever. I really like him. So this is called Power and Thrones, A New History of the Middle Ages. This was published last month in September, and I believe, yeah, it's Head of Zeus, an Apollo book. So this, to be honest, while I am very much enjoying it so far, I don't know what's so new about it yet. It seems to follow pretty much every other curriculum or storyline or narrative that I read about, you know, a general history of the Middle Ages. So it starts with the collapse of the Roman Empire, discusses the Franks, the Merovingians, Arab conquest with the Umayyads and the Abbasids. I haven't gotten to the point of monks, crusaders, builders, survivors, navigators. So it seems like it's gonna follow. I don't know what's new about it yet, but I mean, there's like 700 pages, so I'm sure there's gonna be something that I haven't discovered yet. But in terms of the narrative, I'm not sure it's exactly new, but I'm enjoying it so far. I like the way Dan Jones writes. Apologies. And I'm hoping to finish this month. October is one of my favorite months. Halloween is my favorite holiday, and this is the time of the year where I really do enjoy reading fiction. I like reading gothic horror, and I also like reading about the history of witchcraft and folklore. So that'll be one of my next videos, just a sort of a loose October TBR, just so you guys can see what I'm gonna be reading this month, although I am expecting some books in the mail, so oh well. Anyways, that's just me rambling on about books that I've read, and apologies, this was a very rambly video. I just wanted to get a video out for you guys without any further delay, and maybe my my scatterbrainedness came across. But anywho, thanks for sticking around if you've made it to the end, and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye for now.